Hey there, Dwarven Piper. Just putting my microphone in, one sec. Hello, good evening, one and all. Hey Dale, how are you? I've actually got to head over onto your channel. I've seen a few shout outs about your channel. I haven't had the chance yet. I haven't been on a live for quite some time now. So I thought I'd better do one this evening. Cheers. The bearded Welshman is in the house too. How are you doing? Well, since the last time I was on, quite a few tobaccos and pipes. I've done a few of them. You'll have seen them on my channel if you've watched a few of the videos. A couple of there's Old Gowrie, which I haven't tried yet. I'm doing very well, thank you very much. You have to remind me your first name, bearded Welshman. I'm not great with names, memory-wise. St. James's Flake. Hi John, great, fantastic. I'll try to remember. It took me a while to remember quite a lot of people's names that come on regularly on the live videos. That's awesome, you're at Boswell's today. I did see that you loaded the video, but not that you actually did a tour, which I fully understand. I'm like that myself when I go into a shop or a cigar lounge. If it's busy and there's people there, I'm quite reserved in that way. I don't like to disturb people. A little bit English that way. Too respectful sometimes. But I think that's good. And thank you very much for the regards. Please give them back when you go next time. That's a pilgrimage I'd like to make one day. And I can't see it happening in the near future. It would have to be a pretty strong reason for me to go to the States to sit on a plane for 7-8 hours. Although I don't mind flying, but the boredom just does my head in. Going to, when was it? I was in Israel, what was it, a month ago? You know, that's like a 5.5 hour flight. And takeoff and landing is fine. A bit after, a bit, you know, the beginning, a bit at the end, but just the middle bit, you know, 3-4 hours in the middle, just, it's a killer. Oh, cool. Northwoods is some great stuff, but I have to say, if you've been watching my channel, you'll have seen that I've been smoking the stuff that Art sent me, Pipe and Spirits, this Barnegat blend, which he bought in the Casa de Monte Cristo in New Jersey, and this is really good, it really is. I still have to do a side-by-side smoke, that with Northwoods. Maybe I should do that tonight. I'm just not in the mood for a Latakia smoke this evening. I'm still not quite there. I'm getting there. I'm definitely having Latakia more often as the weather changes. Who Art sent you, John? He's an amazing guy. He's one of the most generous people that I've gotten to know, had the privilege to get to know on YTPC. Really is. Really generous soul. He sent me these cups. He sent me 3 of these with different versions, different pictures from my channel, which is, you know, gone to quite a bit of effort there. And they're great. They're big size, perfect for doing a live video. Any of you guys, thank you, very kind of you to say so. Any of you guys smoked both of these and have any opinions, or either of them? Yeah, since I've gone 9 mil, I've been smoking a lot of Virginias and Vapors, but I haven't tried either of these, and I'm tempted. Well, this one is a Virginia, I think. I don't think it's got any Perique in there, but I might be wrong. But I've recently been enjoying Samuel Gawith. Hi Joe, long time no see, hope you're well. I have smoked Hell of the Wind. Wolf Valley Boy sent me some a while back. It's okay. I didn't. Admittedly, I only had. I've only had a couple of bowls, but I wasn't blown away by it. But some of them, some tobaccos need time, especially Virginias. We know that they age well, but they also, I think they definitely improve with a bit of airing as well. I have noticed that when I first bought the Solani Silver Flake, I really was not taken by it at all. But when I go back to it, months later, it really was much better. A little bit subtle. I find that the Solani Silver. Okay, so I think I'm going to pop this St James's Flake. Although my good conscience tells me that I shouldn't. I've got so many different blends open at the moment. It's just criminal. It really gets out of hand. I've got the those two Tupperdoors full, chock full with open tins, and then I've got all the jars, which is, it's getting a bit ridiculous. But I think we were going to do it. We are going to do it. So we're going to leave the rat trays. Old Lang Syne, how are you doing? Long time no see. It's been a while. Well, I'm starting pretty late this evening. Spent some time with my great uncle. He's in hospital at the moment. He's in his 90s. He's a very, very educated man, and this has got to be a pretty fresh tin. Oh, that smells good. I've got to say the aroma straight out of the tin, very similar to DNR. Sorry, Dunhill Navy Rolls, very similar. A bit apricotty, figgy and apricotty. A little bit more figgy than Dunhill Navy Rolls. I imagine it's going to be soaking wet, being a Samuel Gawith blend. Oh, that's good. It feels good as well. It feels velvety smooth. Definitely moist. The snuff's going pretty well, but I'm only just really sort of delving into the world of snuff. I've been a pretty regular enjoyer of snuff, but really mostly one blend. I've kind of been codging it with snuff, and I've really only been using this. I would say that I kind of, generally speaking, use snuff maybe once a week, mostly on Saturdays, because I can't smoke on a Saturday for religious reasons. So I use snuff. I would say that over the course of maybe 2 or 3 hours, I might take a few pinches, and this is the one that I've been enjoying. But because I only smoke it, say, once a week, use it once a week, I haven't really sort of investigated the possibilities with snuff, and really haven't tried that many. And the ones that I have tried have been fairly bog standard shop, OTCs, which common OTCs, I should say. A lot of the snuffs are OTCs here, but common ones which you find easily. And I've always liked this one. But when I tried this Best Dark, and that's a natural snuff, the flavour, the complexity is so, and the refinement of this compared to this is just, it's miles apart. And I was completely, hi Morgan, and I was completely sort of sideline, whatever the word is, I was sort of blindsided by what a difference of quality there could be between snuffs. I am very new to it, so this is just, it really blew me away. This is quite a rough and ready, quite a coarse grain of snuff compared to the snuff that I'm used to. And it's probably a little bit moist, hence the little lumps, but it's from a presentation point of view, it's one of the nicest snuffs I've seen. And it's got a little bit of a floral scent to it, but it's really early days, I can't really comment on it. It's far too early for me to start talking about what it's like and what smells it is, and I know too little about this, so I have to really spend some more time before I can really comment. I do like the larger grains. I find that the little ones like this is a powder, a much finer powder. I find that it goes straight into my lungs, and I tend not to breathe it that deeply that it goes down into my lungs. I don't like it when it goes. I don't like the sensation of it, and I'm sure it's not good for you either. I'll have to check that one out, that video. Thank you, Snakes. So I tend to really have quite a shallow breath when I breathe in through the nose. I do it quite shallowly, so it really goes into the nasal passage, but not much further. And I'm sure some does, obviously, goes further, but it's not as much that I can feel it. But when I'm using very fine, like that other one, that gold label, I do find that it very easily goes all the way down, and I just don't enjoy that. Anyway, we digress. Actually rubbed out a little bit too much here, I think. Right, which pipe? Kind of haven't decided yet whether I'm going to use one of the new Northern Briar pipes, the 60th anniversary ones. Can't quite bring myself to put a match to those. What I did get, no, it's not a Mishnah. It's in the Bible. You can't use fire on the Sabbath for Jewish people. It is permitted on festivals, but not on the Sabbath. So this is the another Escortia I picked up, which came today. Really interesting shape. It's an Escortia business, and in the pictures it didn't look so good. It looked a little bit tatty, but it's actually in fantastic condition. Very clean bit. Very, very happy with it. I really actually like this shape. This extra bit on the bottom makes it interesting, and it's in really good, clean condition. It's been very well reamed. Very happy with it. It's lightweight. I can't quite make out what's been smoked in it before. Possibly a bit of a Lakeland, but it's really light. But I'm not going to smoke that now. I'm going to give it an alcohol treatment and clean out before I use it. Let's see. This is a pipe I haven't used for a while. Okay, I think I'm going to use the Tom Phillips Bulldog. Nice pipe. Which one, Dale? The Escorty. I got that on eBay, yes. Yeah, the Escorty was from eBay. It was actually a very good buy. At the time, I was bidding on 3 different pipes. One was a Dunhill, a 9mm. I think the other one was a Mastro de Paja, and this Escorty. And the Dunhill, I'm actually sort of mixed feelings, because I put in a really high bid as a final. I couldn't watch the end of the video, at the end of the auction. I wasn't able to be there for the end of the auction, so I put in a bid. I'm usually a last second bidder, but on this occasion I just put in bids on all 3. On the Dunhill, I put in a bid which I kind of regretted, so I was pleased that I didn't win it. And it was obviously somebody just bid it up by one more bid. I bid, I think, at £220. It was a 9mm Dunhill Bulldog in superb condition, and it went for like 221. So presumably somebody was watching it and just bid it up by one more. The next bid won it anyway. And I was actually quite pleased that I didn't get it, because I bid too high for it anyway. Didn't really have the money to. Well, it wasn't something which made sense for me anyway, to spend that kind of money on that as an estate pipe. Especially since I've got a 9mm Dunhill which I'm trying to sell. So, anywho, and the other one I didn't get, and this one was the lowest bid, and I got it. So I was really happy. So earlier today I went to visit my great uncle. Which one were you watching there, Del? The Escorty? Do you get people sending over from Germany? Because this one I got in Germany. Cool. Yeah, so I went to visit my great uncle. Good night, old guys. Nice to see you again. He's, as I say, he's in his 90s, and he's been very, very weak over the past few weeks. Yeah, absolutely, Dale. Do the same. I do the same. And for one reason or another, his kids aren't able to kind of maintain a vigil, if you like. One of them lives abroad, and the other one's out of town. It's difficult. It's not important. Bottom line is he didn't really have anybody to visit him on a regular basis. My father had visited him last week, and one thing which I'm not going to say that it's an intentional thing. It would be a little bit controversial to say this, but certainly in some of the British hospitals, I'm not going to say all, but some of them, with elderly people, they're not too bothered, let's put it that way, if they recover or not. You know, especially a man who's in his late 80s or 90s, who's fading, they're not going to bust a gut, if you like, to make sure that he gets through his hurdles and recovers and is able to go home. And as a matter of policy in our family, as much as possible, when there's somebody of age, significant age, in hospital, we do our best to keep that person company all the time, 24/7. Some hospitals don't allow it, which is understandable, but we do our best to make sure. And the very fact that somebody's there and somebody's watching over the progress of the patient generally will ensure that the hospital does the same. I've seen it more than once where people haven't got anybody close to be in regular contact or visit regularly, where they just fade away. They literally just fade away. They're not strong enough to ask for assistance, or they're not strong enough to ask for water. One of the biggest killers is patients being dehydrated, being pumped full of medicine and dehydrated at the same time. And so that's something always, when I go to visit people in hospitals, make sure that they drink. Very, very important. Anyway, so we went to see him on Friday, and he looked really, really bad. He was extremely weak, no energy, and he hadn't eaten. Couldn't eat. In fact, his stomach wasn't quite right, and he couldn't eat. So he asked me to bring him some soup. So I went home, got a flask, and put some soup in it, and he had that after we'd gone, because I went again today to visit him this evening to see how he was, and he had that soup, and he was a lot stronger. He was able to eat something today. Took him some more soup tonight and some freshly squeezed apple juice, a very well-known company here in the UK, and it's very nourishing. It's pure. It's the purest apple juice you can get, and he really enjoyed that. But I found it very. Hi Mike, how you doing? I found it very poignant when you go to hospital wards and when you go to see the older generation sort of struggling to hold on to life and struggling to overcome their physical and often mental hurdles. And then you can go down a floor and go to a maternity ward and see new life coming into the world. And I just find it very poignant. As I was going downstairs on my way out, right by the entrance, there was a young couple who happened to live in the area where I live. And they were standing waiting for somebody to collect them to bring home their brand new baby. I offered them a lift, but they had something organised. I just found that very poignant, coming straight from a ward of elderly people and people at the twilight of their life, and seeing somebody, a new precious little soul, starting their life. And I found it very poignant. Hospitals are places where most of us don't like to go. It reminds us of our mortality, and we're always afraid that we may have to, be there at some point. But it's also, fantastic, Dale, fantastic, congratulations, Mazal Tov. Yeah, the cycle of life. All right, well, I guess we're going to be doing a live first impressions. St. James's Flake. It's still pretty moist, as you'd expect from Samuel Gawith, but I'm not intending on being here for 2 weeks, which is what it'll take to dry out. First time, Mike, I've not had it before. London calling YTPC from the aforementioned art. We're going with a match. Hey Quaker, how you doing? How is that Siglo 2? Is it good? What is that, like a half Corona? I don't think I've had the Siglo 2. I think on the Siglo line I've had the Siglo 4, the 5 and the 6, I think. Yeah, unfortunately I find that all too often with the narrower gauges, Mike. Night Dale, nice to chat. Sure we'll be in touch in the future at some point. Well, this is St James's Flake. It's pretty bright, the flavour. A little bit peppery. Given the aroma in the tin, I was expecting a bit more of a deeper flavour. A little bit more round. Yeah, I think I saw your giveaway there, John. I don't know, I haven't worked it out. The number on the tin is 08271. I haven't worked out what that means. I can't remember which year the numbering starts. I did work it out on a tin previously, on a Samuel Gawith tin, but I don't remember what it was. I've yet to win a giveaway. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like it. It's too early to say that. I'm just describing the flavours, and I do find that these Virginias need some airtime. So I'm gonna put it in a jar, and I'll let it breathe a bit as well. pipe is very, very good. Is there any pipe I would like, any tobacco that I would like? Not that I can think of at the moment. If I was smoking a lot of Latakirs, I'd probably say Penzance, but you'd have a lot of trouble trying to find that. And I do have some, but I'm really getting very close to the end of mine. So no, not that I can think of at the moment. I will never say no to some McClellan Virginias, that's for sure. But again, I have those as well, but I wouldn't say no to those simply because of their scarcity now. I have got some tobaccos coming from, what's his name? Yeah, don't worry about it. Penzance is stupidly hard. I'm not that fussed over it. It's only because I'm coming to the end of it, but I hardly ever smoke it. It's really nice, but it's not something that I would, miss terribly if I couldn't get it, so really don't worry about it. Sapient Smoke. I don't know if you're familiar with him on IG. He's been putting up some pipes and tobaccos on at really good prices, and I was delighted that he agreed to send some over to the UK. So he's sending me some tobacco, and a little bit of, he has some McClellan Virginia's open tins, which he's sending over. And I managed to snag a lovely Boswell pipe, which I'm going to get converted to 9mm when I get it. Mm. 9mm is all I smoke nowadays, really. Very, very seldom do I attempt smoking without nowadays. Rattray's 40, is that a straight Virginia Quaker? This St James's is opening up a little bit now. Getting a lovely spicy retrohale. Tobacco's warming up. Getting a little bit juices, like fruity juices in the mouth. Very nice. Lots of new presenters on these days. So we had Dale Piper on before. We've got the Bearded Welshman, and there's what's his name, Johnny Malice in the UK, the new presenter. Well, burley as an additive can be okay. I'm not a burley fan, certainly not in a blend that's burley forward, but if it's just an additive, a condiment, then it should be fine. Yeah, I do say that very often, don't I? Well, sometimes it enhances a blend, even if you're not a burley fan. So yeah, it's interesting to see what it would be like. Any of you guys affected by the hurricane? Well, I hope none of you are seriously hit by it. How old was that cigar there, Mike? The last Cohiba that I had wasn't aged enough. I've been through a fair few Robustos. That's probably my favourite Cohiba. I've got a Siglo, I think it's a Siglo 6 in my humidor. A single one. And that's all I've got in terms of Cohiba at the moment. I had those Robusta Supremos, which I sold. I sold 3 boxes of those. And I smoked 1 box. They were very nice. They've gone stupid money now here in the UK. Literally stupid money. They're selling for like £160 each cigar. Yeah, Quaker, absolutely. I'm quite curious about that one as well. It's quite rare to see a Virginia in Peterson's annual output. So I was quite curious about that. I'm not a Peterson fan in terms of tobacco. I'm actually not a fan of their pipes either. Sadly, I've only had bad experiences with their pipes. And when I bought them, they were about £40. And I sold a few boxes just before my daughter's wedding. And despite the fact that they're worth a fair bit more and they'll continue to rise, you know, they serve their purpose. I didn't buy them to smoke them. I bought them as investment for the next child that got married, and that was their purpose. And it was, you know, served its purpose for me. And the likelihood of me smoking another one is quite slim because of the cost nowadays, unless somebody happens to have one and we're sitting together and having a smoke and he pulls one out. But I'm not likely to be buying any. Well, you couldn't date a single cigar, but if you had the box or you knew the box that it came from, you'd be able to date it on the reverse. I have noticed that American one, or well, non-Cubans, they have no kind of dating system at all. I've got some Oliva Sirivi Melanios sealed, which I haven't broken as yet, but I've got no way. I don't know. Maybe I'm not aware of a way of doing it, but I can't see any way of dating it at all. I'm wondering why that is. Why the non-Cubans don't have any kind of dating on them. Because although they don't have as significant evolution over time as Cubans do, but I do think they do still get better. They do improve. They do get smooth out, you know, with some time. I've mentioned this before on my channel. You know, even a pretty sort of economic cigar like the Nica Libra I had that was one. I think that was the first box of cigars I ever bought. Well, Unicorn Piper Ben, he organised it for me, and we did some kind of trade, and he sent me that box, and I smoked through them over the course of wherever it was, a year or two, and there was just the odd one or two left in my humidor, and I think I smoked the last one a month or two ago, and it was so much better, and that was sort of at the low end of things, the Nicalibra. So I think there's definitely some value to having dates on the boxes. It's a shame that they don't, the non-Cubans. It's Tom Phillips pipe, very, very nice pipe. Cumberland stem, nice and lightweight, nice piece of briar, nice shaping. Reminds me of Les Wood's style of rustication. And unfortunately, this guy, I mean, he only does it part-time, Tom Phillips. I'm not sure what he does the rest of the time, but he sort of does it as a hobby. But his machinery's gone down. I think his lathe is conked out. And when he was in the middle of doing a pipe for me a while back, it conked out and he repaired it, and it must have gone again. And he said he's not doing it anymore. He's given up. So I don't know, hopefully sometime in the future he'll pick it up again. But at the moment he's not making pipes, so I feel quite fortunate to have, I think I've got 3 of his pipes. Have you not tried it, John? The Peterson Flake? Thank you there, Mike. It was not too bad over the course of a week or so in my spare time. It looks okay when you look at the whole room, but when you start to get to look at the finer details, it's a pretty basic job that I've done, but it's a freshen up of the room, and it makes it somewhat respectable for the young couple, and they're in there asleep right now. Mike, have you tried Old Gawith by Rattways? Well, John, if you do give it a try tomorrow, perhaps you could do that on a video. It'd be nice to see what your thoughts are. All right. J. Ralph, hello, welcome. Yeah, that does improve with time, the flavours. I've noticed as well, since I started smoking a pipe, that my flavour recognition, if you like, has improved on lots of things, not just on pipe tobacco. I'm not a big whiskey man. I enjoy it from time to time, but I'm not a big whiskey man. And or vodka or anything like that. I have a few, but as I say, I'm not a connoisseur. I was at my brother's house today, and he pushed a little glass, a shot glass over to me, and he said, "Try that." So I smelled it, and I said, and I knew it was. And I brought it up to my nose, and it smelled like salted caramel. And I said to him, "What is this? It smells very sweet, like caramel." He said, "Yeah." He showed me the bottle, and it was a vodka flavoured with salted caramel. And that's not necessarily something that I would have. Well, that one I would have, because it's obviously a flavoured vodka. But the point I'm making is that your palate does become quite refined, and it becomes more sensitive to different flavours. And some whiskies, when I taste them, I'm so much more. And my palate is so much more sort of open to the flavours that are there. And I'll talk about flavours which I would have never mentioned in the past when tasting a whiskey. But you'll know from my channel that when it comes to descriptions, I'm pretty conservative, pretty traditional when it comes to descriptions. Just describe it as you see it, as you feel it. Rather than breaking it down into 10 different fruits, just say it's got a fruity flavour. This James's Flake is nice. It's ebbed a little bit. It's not as mouth-filling as it was before. It had a really nice flavour earlier on. A little bit less so now. It's got a nice little sweetness, a little finish, a nice sweet finish. And the way it's smoking now, does remind me of Dunhill Navy rolls. Retro Hill perhaps a little bit spicier than Dunhill Navy rolls. Probably also because it's fresher. So, I've got to ask you guys a question, which, although my channel doesn't really go into politics, and we haven't spoken about the Donald for a long time, what gives with him? Is he going to get impeached or something? A lot of mudslinging going on. I know so little about American politics, but from afar, things seem to be building up a little bit. Anyone care to comment? What is it all revolving around? Is it about vote rigging? Is that what it's about? What's at the heart of this debacle? You mean the band, Mike? A sitting president can't be impeached, is that right? Is that a constitutional fact? because he was getting impeached. Clinton, wasn't he? Wasn't he going to get impeached at the time? Oh, indicted, right, okay. So if a sitting president was guilty of murder, for instance, he couldn't get indicted whilst president. He would have to get removed first before being indicted. Right. So, let's say he got removed. Can he then be charged with a crime that he did whilst being president? Right. That's interesting. Well, I can see that there's merit in that to some extent. Because it'd have to be something really significant and virtually beyond doubt, so that it was something which was impeachable, and to get him removed, and then to charge him, so that he doesn't get charged with lots of trivial stuff. Otherwise it would get ridiculous. Right. Okay, as I said, I'm ignorant with American politics. Just sort of commenting from afar, if you like. I don't blame you there, Jay. I don't blame you at all. I was listening to a radio program on LBC this week, and they were talking about the Russian, the poisoning, the Novichok poisoning which happened here in the UK, and all evidence pointing to the Russian state being behind it. And there was a caller who called in and said, "Where's the evidence that it had anything to do with the Russian state?" So the presenter said, "Well, it's been publicized by the government, and it's, you know." And the caller said, "So what? You know, you can't believe anything anybody tells you these days, and any kind of statement that comes out of government is just something which is presented by them to put across a picture that they want to portray." And to some extent, I think he's right. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But the interesting thing is that this particular event has been so public. You know, the government has been unusually public about it. Alright, John, thanks for joining. Bit of a low-key live video tonight. Just chilling, really. No problem, John. Looking forward to the next one. Alright, guys. 2012 Stonehaven. Tasty stuff. I've been stocking up on Rich Dark Flake, which is essentially the same stuff. So I've been letting that age. I've got a fairly decent amount, well, not in terms of pounds or anything like that, maybe 300 grams, something like that. When did I get it? In January, so it's already got 9 months on it. They do make some nice tobacco, the Germain's chaps. A brand that I really would like to get into because they've got such a bewildering array of tobacco is Cornell and Deal. Sometimes I think to myself, you know, how many different connotations of tobacco can you make? But they seem to manage, and it's obviously selling, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing it. They must have hundreds of blends. Did they come with tobaccos? The reps. Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense, Morgan, having so many blends out there they wouldn't have to register. Assuming that, is that a tobacco or a description of the rep? Just tossed a bit of ash and it's really made this pipe come alive. Perhaps it's a little bit more air getting to the tobacco. The drawers opened up and it's producing a lot of smoke. A lot of people say that Redstone about quiet nights. I don't see it, but it's been a while since I've tried it. Perhaps I need to try that again. Opening night, is that a Virginia or is it a Latakia blend? People have mentioned that to me before, possibly even Mike was one of those people, I'm not sure. Right. I'll have to try that someday. Yeah, I did that three-way shootout between Star of the East, Quiet Nights, and Penzance. That's had a lot of views actually. It's been quite a popular video. But interestingly, in terms of the views on the videos, despite the fact that I find that the pipe community has a much wider audience, well, it's a much more visible audience. It's possible that there's a greater cigar smoking world out there, but they haven't kind of joined in to a community as such. Not that I've been able to see on YouTube, like the YTPC. But I think the greatest number of views on any of my videos is on a Cohiba cigar. Actually, I might be wrong there. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, it was a Cohiba BK 52. Yeah, I have tried multi-dolce. I think I've still got some. I might have an unopened tin somewhere as well. And it is very, very wet, very, very moist, but it is nice tobacco. For an aromatic, it's nice. I do like it. Hi Brian, how are you? Have you tried Bat with a Hat? Also fairly similar, also quite moist. That stuff is so moist when you put it in the pipe and you light it, you can just hear it sizzling and crackling in the bowl. Enjoy it, Morgan. Jay, how long have you been smoking a pipe, and why are you getting a 9mm now? Hey, just me, thanks for joining. No, I'm pretty sure it's an American blend, Bat with a Hat. I don't think I've got any there. I did smoke it a bit right in the beginning of my pipe smoking. Wow, that is very cheap. $60 is good, very good. Stanwell's are good pipes, really good. I came to Stanwell's since I started smoking a pipe a couple of years after. I had one Stanwell pickaxe, which was a very nice pipe, but I sold it on one of my sales. It wasn't 9mm. No, it's not a true army mount. It couldn't be a true army mount if it was a 9mm. The whole concept of an army mount is that it's tapered, that the stem is tapered, and that came about, I'm sure you know all this already, but the army mount came about when soldiers in the First World War were smoking their pipes, and they used to put their pipes in their belt, which was around their tunics, and they'd often discover that the shanks had broken, or the stems had broken whilst they were out fighting or whatever. They'd come back and discover that the things had broken. Cheers, Mike, thanks very much. So what they did was they chamfered down the stems so they were tapered, and they just, if they broke, they just wedge it back into the stem. And you know, if it's tapered, as long as it's tapered, you can just keep on trimming the end off and just wedging it back in. I think that's how it all came about. But yeah, there's a lot of army mounts which are just aesthetics. The Escorti from this one here, yeah, this is exactly an example of that, of an army mount looking pipe, but it's not really, because the actual bit that goes into the shank is a straight piece, a 9mm. But I like the army mount look. It's really nice. No, that one's cold, the one I just took apart. But the army mounts, you should be able to take it apart, depending on how hard you've wedged it in. A real army mount, that is. A real army mount shouldn't be a problem removing it while it's hot, as long as it's not too firmly wedged in. Alright, gents, it's 9 minutes to 3 in the morning here, so I'm going to bid you all. I think I started too late for the English crowd. None of the usuals come on tonight. But we had a late start this evening. Yeah, the balsa filters are good for reducing the moisture. This bowl is done. That was pretty good, that St James's Flake, I must say. I must admit that when I started smoking a pipe, I was really chasing after American blends most of the time, because the people that inspired me into pipe smoking were smoking American blends for the most part. And I totally ignored the English tobaccos for a long time, English as in the ones which are available here in England. But there are some great tobaccos here in the UK, which I'm really enjoying, especially from Samuel Gawith. And Samuel Gawith I really did ignore for a long time because they were always so wet and hard to keep alight. But once you get into it and you're sort of used to smoking a pipe, you get over that. Yeah, we all chase after imports, it's true. We chase after what we can't have, I suppose. The grass is greener on the other side, as they say. This is a Tom Phillips pipe, Redstone. This is a custom order, which I had made for me. I sent him pictures of pipes that I liked, and he made this one. It's a very nice bulldog, very comfortable bit. It's just really nicely made, and I just really like the rustication on it. It's great. Halo and Smoke, how you doing? I don't smoke this as often as I should. It's a great pipe. He's also one of the carvers who, I've mentioned this before on my channel as well. I am a bit repetitive, I'm afraid, apologies. But a lot of the pipes that you get, especially bent pipes, you find because of the acuteness of the angle with bent pipes, they have to drill down really deep, and you just find that the distance between the heel and the inside, sort of the bottom of the drill, is so small. Sometimes the thickness of the bowl at the bottom is literally millimeters, really wafer thin. Which downhill pipe, Law & Smoke, you talking about? Oh, the one you put on your giveaway. Yeah, it's a gorgeous pipe and really generous. Oh, I couldn't believe that you stuck that in as a prize. Are you talking about the one that you had in your giveaway? The red one, the ruby one. Oh, right. Very nice of him. Very nice. He's donated stuff to, or helped out Harriet Herfer on her raffle that she's doing now. She's got an amazing raffle going on. It's awesome prizes for to support Danny Shaw. If you haven't seen her video, watch it, get on there. It's really good prizes. The raffle ticket is a fair bit of money. It's $25, but it's an amazing array of prizes, really, and it goes to a great cause. Danny's a great guy. I've known him for a good few years now on the YTPC. Just a good guy. You are quite right, Redstone. I stand corrected. $10 for one, and that's actually a pretty good deal. Into playlists, I've never. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty simple, but I've never tried. But in which way would I organize it? How would I group them? Pipes, cigars, and general? Oh, you mean so that you could have them continuously playing? Is that what you mean? Oh, I see. I've never really thought about that. I mean, yeah. Maybe I'll do that. I kind of, the videos that I do, I kind of just share my experience in my pipe smoking and cigar smoking. There isn't really any structure to it. And anything that happen to be doing, and I think it might be of interest, I'll just upload it. There are some which I specifically set out to do, like the shop tours, and obviously the first impressions videos, things like that. But it just comes naturally. It's not really something that I've put a great deal of thought into in terms of a structure, but maybe that's something worth doing. I'll have a look into that. Thanks for that suggestion. Well, I finished my coffee. This is as good a time as any to say goodnight to everybody. So I'll say thank you all for joining once again. Thank you, J. Ralph, Lawn Smoke, Redstone Piper, Mike, who's gone, but thank you for joining. Just Me DC, Morgan Steele, Brian Gleason, and everybody else that joined. Thank you very, very much. CW, thank you. Yeah, I'll have to have a look into that. Thanks very much, everybody. I wish you a fantastic morning. It's now 3 o'clock here. Time to get some shut eye. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you on the next one.